These lights behind me are my favorite lights that I have ever used. These are the Double Rainbows by Quasar Science. These are often used on film sets and for videographers and photographers, but I especially love the way that it looks for musicians, and I even used them recently in a couple of music videos that I did. But the thing that's really mind-blowing about these is that you can use video to color map onto these lights. So you can put an image of a fireplace or something like that, and the lights will move to the video. You get some truly incredible effects by doing this, stuff that couldn't really be done with just standard DMX. These are incredibly versatile. It can be controlled on the light itself or with an app. It can also be controlled with DMX, ArtNet, or sACN. They can also be controlled wirelessly with wireless DMX, Bluetooth, or even over Wi-Fi. My channel is mostly about musicians. However, if you're here for photography or videography or anything like that and just looking for amazing lights, I think this video can still help you out. I do want to thank Quasar Science for sending these lights over for me to check out. I absolutely love these lights. This is not a paid video or anything like that, and just as always, all the opinions in this video are my own. That's enough for the intro. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and let's go ahead and get started. So these lights can get very bright, and I went back and forth multiple times on how I should film this with my camera. Sometimes I shot the lights with a little bit of lighting around them. Sometimes I shot it in pitch black. Other times I shot it where it was facing sideways, and you could see the reflections off of like a black cloth. But hopefully there are multiple angles so you can see how truly incredible these lights are. So first off, we're gonna get the boring stuff out of the way, the setup, the mounting, and the controls and stuff like that. And then we're going to get to programming the lights. Feel free to use the timestamps down below if there's a specific topic that you're interested in. So just really quickly going over the setup, you can plug in power either with the locking cable or with the 4-pin DC port if you want to use this with a battery. You do have RJ45 inputs and outputs for DMX, so this will work with standard DMX, ArtNet, or sACN. If you do use 3 or 5-pin DMX cables, you'll need one of these cheap adapters, and I'll be sure to link to those down below just in case if you need them. They do give you multiple options for mounting this to a pole or whatever you need to. So see all the screw inputs that you have here on the back? You have so many different ones. So you can use just one of these if you want and just screw it in and just leave it in place and put it into your light stands. However, I actually prefer this method right here, which is the Awesome rail slider. And what you do is it goes over this bar on the back right here. It slides in. Now what's cool is you have this mount right here and you screw that in here in the back, and now this thing slides around freely. So you can put it wherever you want. So you can put it into your light stand like so, screw it in, and then you can adjust it and move it up and down if you need to, or twist it side to side. And then when you're happy with it, you just lock it back in place and it holds it really well. It's a really clever mounting system. So you power it on the other side, and just FYI, this little rubber bumper comes off both sides, on the control side and on the power side. I'm going to go over some general controls here. We'll go over different control menus when we get to certain sections in the video, but I'm going to give you a quick rundown. So you can use the buttons down here to cycle through some of the different options, but as far as controlling this manually, you can do this all on the light. So let me turn the light on, and I can change the intensity, so I can hit the check mark and then turn the intensity down. You'll see the light is dimming, turn it back up. And what's really nice about this is you have this light button right here that I can push to turn the light on or off. So the light can be on or off while I'm making adjustments, which is a nice touch. The link button up here is for wireless DMX, and then this USB-C port is for updating the firmware. So let me scroll through, and let's say I want to go to one of the color presets. I can go in there and I can change the light to red, to orange, yellow, green, so on and so forth. A lot of this I think will be better shown in the app. I'm just showing you that you can control this from the light itself. This is important though. Under the config menu for DMX, you can set your starting DMX channel. If you're unfamiliar with DMX, I do have a video going over a beginner's guide for DMX programming. How many pixels do you want the light to operate at? So if you have 1 pixel, the entire light is just going to change to whatever color you want. For example, like this, it'll just change between the colors. But I can change it to 2 pixels, so I can control half of the lights. And it goes all the way up to 48 pixels. So you can control a lot of different parts of the lights depending on how much control you need. Scrolling over, this is the profile. There's so many different profiles in here. This is how you want the light to respond to DMX messages. So as I scroll through these, you can see that there's some different names in here, and I will have a link down below that shows you what each of those do. So for example, here's profile 13, which is red, green, blue, and then basically an amberish color and a white color. Here's another one that's very simple, red, green, and blue. The initial one is hue, saturation, intensity, color temperature, and then plus or minus this green control, you have 66 different profiles in here. Now this is really cool though. See how if I'm on profile 8, it will tell me this is red, green, and blue, and it's going to take up 144 channels of DMX. Why is it going to take up 144? Because I have my pixels set to 48. Red, green, and blue, that's a total of 3 per pixel. 3 times 48 is going to give me 144. So if I turn this down to say 4 pixels, it's going to tell me this is only going to take up 12 channels of DMX, which is really great. So see if you have 48 pixels and use some of the profiles that take up a lot, like look at profile 66, that's going to take up 480 channels of DMX. It's amazing how much you can do with this light, or how you could also just leave it at one color depending on your setup and your needs. So I'm going to show you some of the other menus later, but the one I'm going to show you now is I'm going to go to star control. I'm going to turn that on. This will allow me to control it with the app star control. Let me show you how that works. So when you load the app, it should automatically find the lights. If for some reason it doesn't, hit connect lights down here at the bottom. You can see I have 2 lights here, and I can click them individually to go and start changing some of the settings on there. You can see they're currently set a nice magenta color. But for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the main menu here. I'm going to set up a group. I'm just going to call this both. I'm going to drag both of these lights into this both folder so I can control both of them at the same time, which I think will be the best way to demo this. So going into the light, you get some different controls here. I'm going to change the color temperature, how much green is in the light, change the hue. You have to have the saturation up in order to see the hue changes. So now let's change the hue, make it more green. I can also choose the output mode. Do I want it high, normal, or low mode? Down here at the bottom, you have different presets, which is really nice just for loading certain colors. So here's red, here's orange, yellow, cyan, so on and so forth. Really nice and easy to load certain colors that you want. And then last but not least, we have effects. So let me load the rainbow effect. I'm going to turn it on over here. You can see this really nice rainbow effect that the lights are doing. And you have your standard controls down here, but I can change the rate. So how fast do I want the lights to move, or do I want them to move slower? Right now, the grouping is set to full. I can set it to half, or actually an easier one to see is 2. So it splits the light into just 2 different sections, or sets it to 2 pixel mode, or you can set it to a single grouping, and now it will just cycle through the colors just as 1 pixel. Short circuit is a fun one, especially if you set it to, red. You can see why these are used on film. Change the rate of the short circuiting, stuff like that. Paparazzi is pretty cool as well. Once you understand the general controls, you get the idea. So I can set the lights more to red, set them more to blue, so on and so forth. Fire is my favorite one. This one is really cool. Let's say I want to set it to like this green fire. Really cool effect. So let's say I made this green fire. What I can do is I can hit this plus button. I can name it something like Hulk Fire or something like that. And then over here on the main screen, I can push this plus button to load my favorites and reload that preset that I like. Really nice control with the app. So in one of my music videos, we used these lights. There were 4 different characters in 4 different rooms, and each of the lights just had the one color. And you can see how nicely it just illuminated each of the rooms. Whether it was red, purple, blue, or green, each of the characters had their own rooms, and the lights just looked so nice. Another video we did a while ago was for one that was kind of like a creepy Matrix type control room, and we used the lights in there as well to give this futuristic vibe, and it just worked really well. We also used this in a promo video that we did, my wife and I's acoustic duo. Even just in single color mode, they just add a really nice ambience to the set. So if you're a musician, you're going to want to use this for controlling this with lighting software or lighting controllers. You have options for DMX, ArtNet, or sACN. I'm going to start with DMX first, and I'm just going to keep it very simple for this first one. I think just using like a hardware lighting controller is going to be the easiest way just to show you a few things about these lights, but it'll get more advanced as we go. To set this up in DMX mode, under the config menu, make sure you go to wired mode and make sure it's set to DMX 512. Go over, make sure that your DMX starting address is set to where you want it. I'm going to set it to channel 1. And you can also set terminated on or off if, for example, you have multiple lights and this is going to be the last one in your chain. So here's my DMX controller right here. I've set these to single pixel mode and to profile 13. So you can see fader 1, going to be red, green, blue, amber, and white. And of course, I control them separately if I want to, because I have the first light set to DMX 1 and the second light is set to start on DMX channel 33. But this is both single pixel, so the light only has one color, and I've chosen the one that's red, green, blue, amber, and white, which is one I'll probably use quite a bit actually. So next up, I've set it to 4 pixel mode, but the same profile. So now you can see, I'm going to bring up the reds in the first group of pixels. So here would be green, blue, amber, so on and so forth. But then the next group of 5 channels will give me the next group of pixels. So let's do red in the first group and then green in the second group of pixels. Moving to the third group, I can set that red, green, blue, or let's do amber for this one. And then in the final group of pixels, let's set that one to a light blue. So green and blue together. But you see how the pixel mode gives you different control over the different sections of the light. So this is 4 pixel mode, so I can control 4 different sections of the light. All right, let's take it to the extreme. We're going to do 48 pixels in profile 13. So I bring up the red fader in the first pixel. Look how tiny that is. Here's the green. But look what happens when you get to the next pixel group. I'm going to set it to green. See how it cuts it in half? So it actually has 24 pixels across, but then cuts it in half for another 24 pixels. So look, if I bring up the next group of pixels, I have to even calculate. I don't even know how I would really do this. It'd be pretty much impossible to control 48 pixel mode with a controller like this. You get so much control over these lights. It's really crazy. And this last one I'm going to show you is just 1 pixel, profile 9, and this one says with effects. So what this does, you still have your first 5 controls, which are normal, but then the next 3 are going to control the type of effects that you want. So this one right here, when I set it to a certain DMX level, it's going to load the rainbow effect. And then the 7th slider will control the rate of it. So just like the stuff that we went over in the app, you can also control that with DMX. So here's that short circuit effect. Here's that paparazzi effect. Let me change the hue really quick. My camera is really struggling with picking this up, but you can see the general idea of the effects. But yes, you can also trigger the effects using DMX as well, which is great. So that's a very simple way to do this with the lighting controller. However, like I mentioned, I shot a music video with these recently, and that one was programmed with the program DMX's. Sadly, it was discontinued. It was an easy program. But anyway, here's some of the scenes and chases that I did for these lights for that music video shoot.
So, what happened next?
Was lost there for hours. Maybe days, I don't know. So hungry.
Bury the hatchet when your head's in the sand. I'll speak my piece and then the path will end. Lend me your ears with your mouth sewn shut.
I didn't have a choice.
I didn't have a choice.
I heard a clock.
What happened next? Was lasting there for days.
I saw something with a loaf of bread.
So I will link the full version of those videos down below in the description if you're interested in checking them out. I did hear a lot of people say they really like the lights in those videos. Okay, next up is ArtNet and sACN mode. This isn't going to be a video dedicated on how to use those protocols. However, if you guys are interested in a dedicated video on those topics, I'm still kind of learning some of it myself. I'm more familiar with just standard DMX. But if you are interested in a dedicated video on those topics, let me know down below in the comment section. All right, ArtNet mode. You still want to set in your config menu, your DMX starting address, and how many pixels you're going to use, and the profile that you want to use. So go over to the wired mode and set it to ArtNet. Let's scroll over to the Ethernet settings, and you want to see the IP address that you have. This first light, I'm going to set to universe 0. Another thing I'm going to do on that second light is I'm going to set the IP address. I'm going to edit it, and I'm just going to, for the last one, I'm just going to go and change this from a 2 to a 3. And then I'm also going to set the universe to 1 because I want these to read on 2 separate universes so that I can control them accordingly. This is not a video about ArtNet. However, for your first light, set an IP address or use the one that it has and set your universe to 0, for example. And then the next light, you would set your universe up by 1, so universe 1. And then those last digits in the IP address, you just want to add 1 as well. And then you want to keep adding 1 for every light that you do after that. So I have this connected manually to my computer via Ethernet, and then I'm just going to go in and confirm that port is I'm going to output it to the IP address that I need it to be at. Again, notice that my computer is outputting to 0.001. My first light is set to receive on 0.002, and then the next light is set to receive on 0.003. So now on my computer, I'm going to load up Light Key. I'm going to click on ArtNet, and you can see if I go to the correct port, it will say that it found the Quasar Double Rainbow. I'm going to choose that one, hit Next. This isn't really a video about Light Key. I've just been messing around with it. If you're familiar with lighting software, it's very, very similar. So I'm going to search for Quasar Double Rainbow. I'm going to patch in the fixture and set it to the mode that I have. And then I'm going to set up another one on a separate universe because I want this one to control the second set of lights. Output this over ArtNet as well. And same same thing, I'm also going to patch 2 more of those, taking up 10 channels. I am using the free version of Light Key, which only gives you 24 channels of DMX, so this is all I am able to do with this software. And then you can see I can start controlling the lights via my computer over ArtNet directly into the Double Rainbow lights. I don't need any sort of ArtNet node or anything like that. It's all done directly into the lights themselves. Very, very cool. Again, not a video about the software. It's a video about the lighting, just showing you that it does work directly via ArtNet. But what about sACN, which I personally prefer? All right, the big moment is finally here. My favorite thing about these lights is that you can video map and color map using images and videos onto the lights. This is done with the program Assimilate. I am not going to pretend like I'm a master in understanding this stuff. I do want to thank the people over at Quasar Science and Assimilate who did walk me through the steps on how to do this. This software for Assimilate is truly incredible, all the stuff that it can do. This is just barely going to scratch the surface of it, but this will show you the steps needed in order to video map and color map onto these lights using video and images. So in the config menu, set your DMX starting channel to 1, number of pixels to full, so 48 for this one. The profile is going to be profile 64. You'll see why here in a little bit. Wired setting is going to be sACN. You do want to make sure it's in multicast mode, and also the IP address is set to auto. And the first light I'm going to set to Universe 1. Many thanks to the folks at Quasar for sending me 2 that I could borrow for this video so I could show this off more. So I'm going to set up a total of 4 lights for this one. So the next light is going to be everything else the same, except it's going to be Universe 2. Next light is going to be Universe 3. And the last light is going to be Universe 4. All the other settings are going to be the same. All right, in the Assimilate software, I'm going to click here where it says import clips. So I've downloaded some free VJ loops from YouTube. I'm going to find those and just drag all of those in. And I'm going to stack them vertically on top of each other, and you'll see why in a minute. But again, just import your clips and then stack them vertically here. So now that I've imported my clips, I'm going to click this stage light button down here. You can see all of my clips are over here on the right. What I need to do is I need to go over here to click protocols, and I need to choose that I'm sending this out over sACN. You can also do this over ArtNet if you would like. And then I have to choose which port I'm going out. I find this not very helpful on my computer, but through trial and error, I know that it's EN17. Now you can see the universe range right here. So it's starting from universe 1 and going to universe 4 is what I need to change it to, because I have 4 lights set to universe 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's the range I want to include here. Now, just in the same way with Light Key and other fixtures, you have to import profiles. I am going to click import, and then I'm going to import the profile, as you can see, for the Quasar Double Rainbow 100, which is the one that I have. I will link to where you can download these profiles down below, but you will need the profile for the lights that you're using. And you can see that this one even says profile 64, 48 pixels. So that's why you wanted to make sure that that's how you had it set up originally when we were setting this up in the configuration. But now you can see that it imported one of them, and you can see on the screen, I can place wherever I want the light to grab the colors from. So let me turn on my camera, but as I move it around on these color bars, that's part of the reason I chose the color bars, so that you could see as I move it around, it's going to change the color on the bar itself. Check this out. If I choose the fireplace, when I load that, you see how the light is projecting the colors based on where I put this on the screen. So it looks like it's a fireplace flickering. So cool. That's just the top light. So how do I add another one? I'm going to go down to duplicate. So I'm going to create a second one of these lights. And here I need to set the universe to be on universe 2, because again, that's the way it's configured. So you see that light right here. So I'm going to drag it underneath because that's the way I have them stacked. Now you can see that it's starting to project on the lights themselves. Duplicate again, set to universe 3, place this one where I would like, duplicate one more, set it to universe 4, and move this to where I would like as well. Isn't that cool? So I could stretch this out to kind of have it get a little bit more of a different look, or I could shrink it in because I want to really have it be fine-tuned. Go through some of the different VJ loops that I have. So here's this one right here. And again, you'll have to mess around with the placement of them. So I'm going to move these around a bit. And I like the look of that. I mean, you couldn't get that with DMX programming. It'd be incredibly time consuming to do something like that. Really cool, super sci-fi looking. Here's another one. And in the software, you know, I can go in here and change some of the settings to control this. So let me bring up a bunch of reds or get rid of the reds and make it really green. You can change the videos around. This is just barely scratching the surface of this software. Now you can see when I bring the color bars in or the fire, you can just see you get some really cool effects with this. And if I bring the master level up, it's going to blow it out on my camera. You're not going to be able to see that, but it looks so cool in person. So this is probably a good setting for filming this. This effect is really cool. And again, I can adjust where I want the lights to be. Here's a couple of other ones. I mean, these lights are just so cool for live visual stuff. It just fits so well if I put music to it. It adds to the music so much. Here's some moving color bars, if that helps visualize it as well. Again, I promise it's not blurry. That's my camera trying to pick it up. These lights are so smooth looking. So there you go. Using video to map the colors onto your lights. Incredibly powerful. So that's truly insane, and that's definitely my favorite feature on these lights. It's truly incredible the type of styles and movement that you can get with these lights. You can definitely see why they're used on film sets. I still have to get to the wireless modes. Yes, this video has gone on so long already, but I do want to show you how to use the wireless modes. And if you are finding this video helpful, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. It truly does help out the channel, and I would appreciate it. So with wireless DMX, you're going to need a wireless DMX controller or a CRMX. Currently, I don't have one, so I will link resources down below so you can check out more details on how to set that up if you need help with it. But I'm going to show you how to control these with Bluetooth and also with Wi-Fi. So under wireless settings, make sure that Bluetooth is on. I'm going to go into the Luminaire app, which is one that I've found that works. And I'm going to go to connections and click Bluetooth and then click search. Sometimes it does only find one, sometimes it finds two, but regardless, it only lets me control one at a time. So Bluetooth is kind of limiting in that way. But now I have my faders set and I can control them as I need to. And you'll see there is a little bit of lag when you use Bluetooth. So just keep that in mind. It shouldn't be used for live lighting, but it is an option. Okay, over Wi-Fi. So under your wireless mode, make sure it's set to Wi-Fi. You can either set it to a specific Wi-Fi network that you already have. So you'd find your Wi-Fi network and then input the password. Do keep in mind, so if your password is password 123, you want to stop here. I made the mistake of going one more over and then hitting save, and that just adds like a space at the end. So make sure you just stop here in order to connect. However, the other option that you have is you can also set it to, instead of a client, you can set it to access point, and now the Double Rainbow is its own Wi-Fi network that you connect to. This light's so crazy, man, how many things it can do. But you can see it'll give you, this is the network now that you want to connect to. So on my phone, I can go to it and connect to it just like any other Wi-Fi network. The password is 12345678890. That's how you connect to it. And then you can see in the Luminaire app, connections, as long as I have the network set to Wi-Fi, and I have my ArtNet settings set up correctly, because this is sending ArtNet over Wi-Fi. Now you can see as I control the faders, I am able to control the double rainbows with ArtNet over Wi-Fi. This light can do everything, I swear. So there are two different options of the double rainbows. There is the 4-foot one, which is the one that I have, which is the RR100. And then there is the 2-foot one, which is the RR50. The 2-foot one is going to cost you just a little over $1,000. And the 4-foot one is going to cost you about $1,500. I will have links down below in the description if you are interested in checking these out for yourself. I do want to do a shout out to Kyle from Digital Myle. He's the one who introduced me to these lights. I showed up to that shoot with some kind of cheaper lights, and he correctly said, hey man, we really should use these, and I reprogrammed the lights for the video shoot. I'm going to put some footage on the screen of some different videos that he's worked with. He's worked with some awesome artists, but here's some good music videos that he's done where he's used these awesome lights. So shout out to Kyle from Digital Myle. Great work. Music videos always look incredible, and I've worked with them on a bunch of them. So if you guys do decide that this is something that is right for you, I will have purchase links down below in the description. That's basically it for the video. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you found the video helpful, and then don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I will link to those two music videos I did on the end screen so you can check them out if you want to see more of these lights in action. Thank you guys again for watching. Again, many thanks to Quasar Science for sending these over to check out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.